like a Hellcat. Like a Hellcat.
Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to another episode of Serie Sitdown. I'm your host, Richard Carmen. No Frank Carvello in the house tonight. He's not feeling so well. So joining me tonight, I'm not going to do this alone, of course not. As you can see, the Mr. Handsome Ricky Buzz is joining me, bringing some top of the table power with me tonight. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. It's not too bad. It's the holiday season, or the holiday season are wrapping up. I gained my 10 pounds that I do, but it's all good, man. How about you?
I'm doing good. Seeing Milan just won on penalties.
Yeah. For those who know what we're talking about, obviously there's a Coppa Italia match tonight, and of course Milan won, and of course they had to win on penalty. I get a penalty goal, right? Milan and their penalties, right? They can't stop scoring penalties apparently. Whatever, they won a penalty, so it was a good match for me. I don't know about anybody else, but. Yeah, it's been the theme of this season so far. Milan and penalties, deserve it or not. I think they're mostly deserved, but it's still penalties are still existing. So anyway, a lot to get to tonight, my friend. But first, let's introduce some of the listeners who may not know who you are. You are a content creator, obviously an Internazionale fan. Like I said, we need top of the table help. It's getting lonely up top, so I had to bring an Interista up here to help me out here. So go ahead, tell the listeners who you are and what you do and how'd you get into being a fan of Inter.
Well, I'm Ricky Buzz. I make content on Inter Milan, as well as some movies from time to time. But most of the content I make is Inter related, and I've been supporting Inter since 2008.
Right on. And so I'm in DC. You are in Dallas, Texas, correct?
Yes.
Right on. So, say what you want. There's plenty of Serie fans here in the United States and obviously all around the world. Uncle Sharma's in the house. He's here until his bedtime here, another 5 more minutes. So, what's up, Uncle Sharma? A lot to get to, a lot of action. We've actually had 2 match weeks in the past week. So we'll get into a little bit of that. Mostly this weekend, I should say. We'll obviously get into goals of the week and who won Calcio. Twitter is what everyone's here for, right? But before we get into this weekend's actions, we had a big game, not necessarily title implications, but 2 teams that are vying for the Scudetto this season, Juventus and Milan. This past midweek on a Wednesday, of all midweek games, this is really the game to talk about. And many thought, obviously Milan had some injuries. Juve had some, question marks for themselves as well. But this is what we would see. Could Milan win another game? They had this impressive impressive winning streak going on. Juve, closer to mid-table than they'd like to be. But what we saw was 3-1 victory for Juventus, effectively opening up the championship this season. An impressive win by them. Chiesa really having Theo Hernandez in his back pocket, much like Hakimi did in the derby earlier in this year. What were your big takeaways from that game, that impressive win by Juventus?
I was actually surprised because I actually thought before the game I actually had my score prediction, Milan 3, Juve 1.
Me too.
It went the opposite direction. But this is Juventus. They're always able to magically pull a win out of the bag and then start going on an incredible form out of nowhere.
many people have said that with a new manager here, they would take a little bit to get their feet underneath them, but then once they do, look out. That's why many people are picking them to win the Scudetto once again. Many people who don't want Juve to win necessarily were hoping maybe Milan could either win or draw to really pull away from them, so to speak, and but they didn't do that. Chiesa, a guy who had a lot of criticism here over the last, not just this year, but the last several years. He was impressive. 2 goals, 2 very good goals. Very effective on that right-hand side. I mean, his shot was on point. Everything he did was touch the goal in that game. And, usually you look for Ronaldo or Dybala to take the highlights, but it was all Chiesa in this one. How impressed were you by him in this game?
He was pretty good from what I saw, or from what the bits I did see before I had to go to work. But yeah, I know he got pelters, I think, in the Fiorentina game a few weeks prior.
Yeah.
And then this one he happened to turn up. So
yeah.
This could just be the start of like one of many games in this form for the season where he's going to be very viable for Juventus.
Yeah, the more people that can get scoring, I guess, the better for them. Obviously, having Chiesa scoring, we know Morata, Ronaldo, and Dybala are going to score, but McKennie's also scoring. Ramsey scored as well. So you got the spreading around the wealth here. It's only going to be good things for Juventus and their hopes to get that 10 Scudettos. So, but let's move on to this week's action. Lots to get into, lots of goals. I'm gonna read through the scores real quick, and then we can start hitting some of these games here. Opening up the game slate, you had Atalanta on the road to Benevento. 4-1 victory for Atalanta. Goals from Ilicic, Toloi, Zapata, Muriel. Several goal of the week candidates in that one. Marco Sal would get the goal for Benevento on the consolation end. Genoa would win 2-0 against Bologna. Ziyech gets the goal in the 44th minute, and Destro continues to score. Unbelievable, 2-0. Genoa win at home. Milan hosting Torino. This is the first match of the 2 games within a matter of days between these two. Obviously, the Coppa Italia tonight, and then this is from the weekend. Milan win 2-0, goals by Leao and a penalty from Kessié in the first half. There would also be a very highly contested game. Before we move on to this one, I don't know if you saw the penalty call on on Brahim Diaz, the one that Belotti had stuffed him on. Did you see that play?
No, I didn't.
It's a very highly contested play, and those in the chat, if you're in there, let us know your thoughts. But it was a play where Belotti playing defense of all things, right? He's a striker, but he's in his own box playing defense. Sticks his foot out. Diaz gets tripped up on the play. One hand. It's a 50-50 ball in my head, right? Either way they made the call, I would have been fine with it. It was that close even you look in the replay, it was inconclusive. Belotti sticks his foot out. He gets the ball. Diaz flops over. It did look like he made good contact on Diaz. So depending on the angle, depending on what kind of call you're going to make. As soon as that play happened, the naysayers came out for Milan. Oh, here we go. Another penalty from Milan again.
Did it look like Diaz made more of it, or make a spectacle more than what it was, or
maybe? I mean, it looked like it was good contact by Belotti, but it was such a 50-50 ball. Unless you saw it in slow motion, you couldn't tell that he did get the ball. So I was fine with it either way that happened. Torino would get a chance later in the game. Verdi would go down. Tonali, they thought took him down, but the replay showed that Verdi actually kicked Tonali and he fell down. So that their penalty was taken away there. But Milan went 2-0 in that game. Moving on, the big game, really one of the big games of the weekend. Roma hosting Inter, a game near and dear to you. 2-2 overall in this game. Pellegrini getting the goal scoring in the 17th minute. Skriniar in the 56th. Hakimi in the 63rd. And then a gut punch for you. 86th minute. Mancini would get the goal. 2-2. We'll get back to that game because that's a lot to talk about there. Hellas hosting Crotone. Goals from Kalinic. Look at these guys. Kalinic and Destro. All these guys who don't normally score are scoring. And all of a sudden, they make it 1-0 there, Hellas. And then Di Marco with a goal of the week candidate in the 25th minute. Crotone would get one back in the 55th through Junior Messias. He's a stud there. 2-1 though. Hellas win that match. Lazio on the road win 2-0 against Parma. Goals by Luis Alberto in the 55th and Caicedo in the 67th. Napoli also would be victorious on the road against Udinese. Insigne would get a penalty in the 15th minute. Lasagna would eat after some mistakes on the defensive end by Napoli. Lasagna would make that 1-1. But then Bakayoko, a nice header, nice curving header, really, in the 90th minute, 2-1 Napoli win there. Fiorentina would win 1-0 at home thanks to a goal by Vlahovic in the 72nd minute and a penalty save by Dragowski on João Pedro. Entertaining 1-0 game there. Last two games, Juventus hosting Sassuolo, a game many also wanted to watch because Sassuolo have been a thorn in many people's sides. This goal scoring started with a banger in the 50th minute through Danilo. Defrel will get a nice goal himself in the 58th, make it 1-1. There would be a red card in this game. Obiang, deserved red on Chiesa, I thought. So they had a man disadvantage for them the rest of the game. Ramsey would get a goal in the 82nd to take the lead, and Ronaldo in the 92nd make it 3-1 for them. And then the Monday game, Spezia win 2-1 against Sampdoria, goals from Terzi and Nzola off the penalty. Candreva, goal of the week candidate there. Ricky, where do you want to start with this? I mean, let's start with first the big game, Roma-Inter. What were your thoughts going into that game? Because that was a crazy game. It started off, obviously, a very nice goal by Roma, but going down 1-0 early is never something you want to see as an Interista.
Well, going in, I predicted for us to start our strongest lineup. Barella, Brozovic, and Vidal in midfield, and then we had Matteo Darmian until the 17th minute until he got injured. But going into the game, I actually thought we'd win it, at least like 2-1,
right,
which we ended up being 2-1 for a while before we ended up collapsing. The first goal, Handanovic ball watching a bit. He just looks at it he looks at it as it's going in. I'm just like, wow. And then from then, it looks like Rome was in possession for the first half. And then the second half, Inter ended up taking possession. We get one back. And then we end up capitulating like we usually do at some point, or making it harder for ourselves.
That was such an interesting game because, I mean, you talk about the ball watching on the first goal. Dzeko did a good job on the left-hand side getting to Mkhitaryan. Mkhitaryan obviously is going to find the open man in Pellegrini. He had a nice shot to go in, so down 1-0. But Roma kept really the pressure up in that first half, and it was a really sloppy half by you guys. But I thought you guys did very well to bounce back up in the second half, and you guys really started taking over control of the game. Looked like you were bound to score, and you eventually did get those two goals like you mentioned. But some of the substitutions, I was reading, the Twitter line, the timeline, and they're like, what are these substitutions you guys are doing? What is Conte doing? And sure enough, like you said, capitulate late at the end. I mean, Roma had some signs that they were coming at the end.
Yep.
And
after.
Yeah.
I was going to say, even after they scored the second goal, they still kept coming and coming. It looked like they were about to score a third one.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at Stevie from Milan Weekly Pod says Conte bringing in Kolarov for Hakimi killed off Inter's momentum. I mean, anything to bring in Kolarov in. I mean, come on, right? What do you make of the decisions that Conte brought in some of those guys in? Was he just trying to save some bodies, or what was the thinking? Because I mean, many people, not even just Interisti, but also other fans were like, "What are you doing? Like, this doesn't make any sense." Even though we would want maybe Inter to lose or draw, this is not what the right thinking that you should do. It's Conte just trying to screw himself basically.
I'm not sure, because even reading Antonio Conte's comments, he's like, well, some of these players were knackered and tired, and it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, for Vidal, you could have brought on Eriksson. Okay, you might not like him, you might not want him. He can keep control of possession of the ball, something to time waste. You could bring in Perisic for Hakimi instead of Kolarov. He has a bit of pace to him and can control it, but I don't know. Mostly he said he did it because of fatigue and players looking tired.
I mean, that's an excuse. I don't know what he's really thinking. I mean, it's a crazy game. No red cards in this game. Vidal didn't get any red or anything like that, so I guess that's a good thing, right? We'll see at the game against Juventus. So what happens there? Big game there coming up on the horizon there. But yeah, that was an entertaining game overall. I certainly got up early to watch that game. It was something that I wanted to see who was going to win, and I did think Roma maybe would win this game just because I thought maybe Conte would try to overthink this, and that midfield that I love from Roma, we're going to find a way to do some magic, and they did in the first half. But I think the adjustments overall by Inter and Conte were good, and Skriniar got that goal to really get the things going. What is your thoughts been on Skriniar, because he is someone who has gotten a lot of flack from the Interisti, right? He's probably been playing out of position. He's not a 3-back center back. He's more he's better off in a 4-back system. So what are your thoughts about Skriniar? Are you someone who thinks he should get less time? Or are you good with him? Are you happy? What are your thoughts on him?
I'm happy with them. It looked like in the beginning of the summer transfer window, it looked like he might either go or it looked like someone might make a let's address the elephant in the room. Is there a feature for Conte at Inter?
Yeah,
I've said it on mine. I'm not sure. We'll see at the end of the season where we finish by how many points off.
Yeah.
But with Skriniar, though, I like him. I think he's actually grown into the 3-back system, similar to Godin was last season. But there were reports and rumors that he might potentially go. Like there's teams like Tottenham that were interested in him. And yeah, he's grown into it. I would like to see us maybe try and get another center back or somebody else this transfer window, just in case,
right?
As well. But
many people are saying that maybe we should get a vice striker for Lukaku. Just give him some rest. Is that you feel the same way as well?
Yeah, because he's not giving Palomito, our other striker. He's not giving him a chance. And then what happens if Sanchez or Lautaro get sent off or get injured?
Exactly. That's a good point there. Skriniar, I think, has definitely gotten better. I think if it's funny, before Conte was here, everyone was saying Skriniar is going to be the center back of the future, the captain of the future. Conte comes in, kind of ruffles everyone's feathers, changes formations, and then all of a sudden we don't even know if he's going to stay here. And I think even being on as an outsider, I think it'd be a mistake to lose Skriniar. Conte, to answer Stevie's question, I don't think Conte would ever be here longer than 3 years. I think 3 years is the max for him at anywhere. So to lose, if he got his way and got Skriniar out of there, that would just hurt Inter in the long term. Is he planning for the long term? Hell no. He's all about the care of the now. He wants to win the Scudetto, and that's it. That's all he cares about. He doesn't care if it's a loan player for 1 year and be done with it. He doesn't care. So I don't see him being here long term. If they win the Scudetto this year, maybe he sticks around another year. Or if he loses, he's probably definitely gone. So I don't see him being a long-term solution for them. And Adriano says Scudetto or bust for Inter and Conte this year. I agree with that. I don't know about you. Do you agree with that? I definitely agree with that because Champions League is it's got to be Scudetto or bust. Yeah,
that's what I've been saying. Scudetto or bust.
Yeah,
which I think honestly, if we don't win it, he'll probably just leave at the end on his own.
Yeah, he might just win. He might just leave no matter what. It's like, win or lose, right? I think for majority of Serie A, outside of Torino or Juventus there, Piemonte, everyone wants somebody else to win the Scudetto this year, whether it be Milan, Inter, Roma, whoever else. I think everyone else is in favor of that. But, all these teams they're having their issues now, and Juve are sitting there in the limelight, in the back room, just sitting there waiting, festering, getting better, and all of a sudden we'll see what happens. They could go on this impressive win streak. We'll see. But let's talk about another game here. A team that's kind of come back from the ashes almost. Atalanta, they struggled mightily to start the season. Obviously, they had a fantastic campaign last year. Also with the Papu Gomez rumors, will he stay? Will he not? He hasn't been seen the pitch at all lately. But the last 2 games with the return of vintage Ilicic, they've been banging in some goals. 5 goals last week, 4 goals this week again. Ilicic has just been amazing on the first goal that he scored. He went through like 4 guys to get that goal. On the goal that Toloi scored, he went through another 4 guys and then got the assist. How special is Atalanta? Are they back? Or is this a blip on the radar right now? Because for the first 15 games of the season, they were just average team, letting up goals, not scoring many. Last 2 games, though, they look like the vintage Atalanta. What do you think?
I think they're starting to regain form. And also with the Ilic coming back, he was heavily missed during their Champions League campaign. Yeah,
they probably could have won against PSG at least if they had Ilic, I think.
But also with the Papa Gomez rumors, I'm more interested even if he does go or even if he doesn't, who would they have brought in or who would have been the replacement for him? Yeah.
That is a good question. They got a lot of people in their pipeline anyway, as it is. I know Lammers, I think, is going to be going on loan as well. Adriano says Muriel is super sub. What kind of play? This is probably the best sub that I've ever seen in terms of output. We saw. I remember. In the Bundesliga in Dortmund, Paco Alcacer would score many goals, but Muriel nearly got 20 goals last year, mostly off the bench. He comes off again, he scores a goal. This guy just needs like 10, 20 minutes, and he'll bang in 1 or 2 goals. Is this an ideal role for him? I mean, obviously we want your best players to be strikers, but Zapata is a special striker himself. So I mean, can they play in a 2-striker system, or is this should they not mess with things and leave Muriel being as a super sub?
I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it isn't bad to like maybe interchange it, have Monreal start one and then have Zapata on the bench, and then equally change it out though.
Yeah,
give each one a bit of game time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I actually got asked a question about Amad Diallo, who just transferred to Manchester United, and the question was like, why are Atalanta letting go this guy who's supposed to be a prodigy? And I'm like, that doesn't matter to them. Papa Gomez, once he's gone, they're not going to miss him. They can just keep churning out. They got Ilicic now. They find guys out of the diamond, and they create. I mean, out of coal and create them into diamonds. I mean, it doesn't matter. They have a system. They know it works, and they just plug and play. And it works so well for them. So it doesn't matter if they lose a youngster. They get money for him and find another youngster, you know?
Yeah.
So Atalanta just has a system doing it right now. So anyway, moving on to, let's see, Milan beat Torino. A good scoreline them. I mean, you know, it's important for them, especially with Inter drawing, that they get a win, especially after the loss against Juventus in the midweek. You know, some people thought with the loss to Juventus, maybe this is Milan early unraveling, but to get a win for yeah, and you weren't the only one. But you know, Milan played a pretty strong game, 2-0. They didn't have obviously many of the starters, but you know, Leao playing as a new striker, he's doing very well in that position. The youngsters are playing well. Tonali's slowly getting better. He's still getting a lot of flack from Milan Twitter, but Milan had a comfortable win, I thought, overall. And Donnarumma had some big saves. He had to make some big saves in this game, but Milan keeping the course. I think, is it, as an Inter fan, does it make you, are you happy to see that Milan is consistent with this? I know you never want to see Milan win, but to see a team who has been very quiet for the many, many years, all of a sudden being a viable threat to win the Scudetto this year and having a second or third team to challenge Juventus for the title this year.
I mean, it's good for the challenge. I mean, I just wish it wasn't Milan. Because honestly, at the beginning of the season, like everyone had predicted, stuff on PLE, everything's going to capitulate, everything's going to go to the haywire. And then it's like, okay, you guys have gone on a massive run. All right, next week go drop points. Nope. Okay, you guys are drawing at the minute. All right, it's going to end in a draw. No, you end up coming back. And I'm just like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good to see that there's competition, as well as Roma is also in third place too, if they can keep up form. I'd like it to be like last season, where it's literally teams are just that small points away from each other.
Yeah. And what we've seen in the past is maybe one team, if you're lucky too. I think last year we had two teams until the very end, but usually it's one team that sticks around against Juventus, and then Juventus find a way. I think the more teams you have in the hunt, the better it is, because at least when they go against Juventus in the end of the season, at least maybe one of them can cancel them out and find another team to jump out. So right now you got, I mean, just looking at the table, you know, Milan sitting first by 3 points, got 40 points. Inter at 37, Roma at 34. Juve just right there in fourth at 33. Atalanta is catching up now at 31, and Napoli at 31. And then you got a bunch of other teams close by. So even though it's starting to separate themselves in the table, you have some teams there that can challenge Juventus, and we haven't seen Juventus at peak form yet. So this can only be good for Serie A as a whole. Maybe not, Juventina are probably not liking this, but I think the rest of Serie A is liking it. It is an open championship, and so I mean, you guys haven't even hit your form yet at Inter. I mean, you guys have been very inconsistent. Conte obviously making some irrational decisions with the substitutions at times, but I think if you guys get in a hot streak, it would just put the pressure on everyone else just to keep up with you guys. And that's why I think it was important that Milan won this game against Torino after you guys got a draw against Roma. Because, I mean, had either you or Roma won, that could have really made it really difficult for Milan and Juventus as well. So the last game, well, maybe not the last game, but there's two games that I want to really talk about before we get out of this weekend. Obviously, it's a Napoli matchup and then a Juventus game. Napoli, we play Udinese, and Udinese is not necessarily an easy team, even though they are bottom feeders. They always find a way to make it difficult against opponents. Napoli had the early goal with Insigne, but Udinese, they just find ways to stay in games, and they capitalize off a big mistake by the Napoli defense that Lasagna capitalized on and scored the goal. I like Gattuso. Obviously, he's a Milanisti, so I'm always going to be rooting for him no matter what. But is he the right manager for Napoli to take them to that next level? I mean, he's obviously much better than most of us thought. I never thought he'd be a good tactician. I think he's become a very good tactician. What are your thoughts on Gattuso from the outside?
Well, from his time at Milan, I thought when you guys sacked him, that was pretty weird or just mind-boggling. And then when he came to Napoli after replacing Ancelotti, he did pretty well. He won a Coppa Italia. But I think they had a bit of a dodgy start to this season. But other than that, I think he's pretty good. He still has a lot to learn, I think, but he's only been managing for, 3 years so far?
Yeah, in the top flight, yeah, he's played some smaller leagues and smaller clubs. But yeah, this is the first time really. These three seasons with the top flight teams. It's impressive, I think, what he's been doing. So anyone who discounts him, I think, has to look again at his statistics because he did very well in Milan, considering they finished in a Europa League spot and considering the squad that he had then. And then now at Napoli, he's really kind of evolved the team that came from the previous two managers. So. Well done by him. And then obviously, the game I want to talk about also is Juventus and Sassuolo had the makings of being a really, really good game. And obviously it was for a long time. Danilo scored a banger of a goal, one of the goals of the week candidates there. But, Sassuolo, they answered right back 58th minute. And this is a team that we thought could do this to Juventus because we've seen it all season long. They have the playmakers on that team. So were you surprised to see it be 1-1 so shortly after Danilo scored a goal?
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I mean, Sassuolo is just they're such a good team, but I think that red card really did them in. I mean, it was always going to be hard to win possession against a team like Juventus, but getting that red card from Obiang, which I think was deserved just before halftime, to me, it seemed when I saw that red card go in, I thought, okay, Sassuolo is done for the game. Obviously, Danilo scores. I'm like, here goes the dam bursting open. But to answer back with one man down, that's really impressive. But after that, I think it was just too much. Juventus ever overcoming stuff, and good win for Juventus overall. And like I said, the table now it's very close at the bottom or at the top, and even in the bottom. At the bottom, look at the bottom. Crotone sitting alone and not with 9 points, and then we got a tie with Parma and Torino. Two teams that you never consider being a relegation teams at 12 points. And then just above them with 14 points, you got Genoa, Cagliari, Udinese. Udinese got 16. So teams that we're not normally expecting to be at the bottom. Do you still see these teams going to be towards the bottom at the end of the season, or do you see some other teams maybe sliding down into that spot?
Where's Spezia and Crotone at the moment?
Yeah, it's a good question. So Spezia at the moment are at 14th place on 17 points. So they're 5 points above the drop. And then Crotone is at 9 points. And then Benevento is actually in 10th spot on 21 points. So they're even doing much better than that. They're 9 points above the relegation spot. So both clubs are doing very well at the moment, including Spezia. Spezia at one point were bottom of the table, but they found ways in the last few weeks. I think with the emergence of Nzola has really helped them a lot. But yeah, Crotone looks like they're for sure going to be going down. Anybody else? Do you think that of those new guys could maybe fall back, have a slow second half of the season?
I think Spezia probably could. I think Parma might be able to make its way back up to maybe 11th. And then Udinese might be like 15th, 14th. They should do a little bit better. Yeah,
now that Liverani is gone from Parma, I think hopefully Parma with their manager back, they can slowly go back up the table there because they've been playing very uncharacteristically lately, and they had a tough game against Lazio, with the manager back, but with the Versa back. But Lazio found a way to win that game. Some big saves by Reina in that game as well. So that was all the games this week. It's crazy when you get this many weeks coming in. We had 2 match weeks coming in, week 16 and week 17. Looking ahead to next weekend, we got obviously the Rome derby, Lazio hosting Roma. Looking at some other big games that you got Napoli hosting Fiorentina. That could be a big game depending on how it goes. But obviously, the one that's probably going to take the headline outside of the Derby della Capitale is going to be Inter Juventus. Let's preview that match real quick. You guys are home in that one. What are you expecting in that game?
I'm not sure. I'm hoping for a win.
I mean, is it a game that you expect one of these two teams to win, or just have draw written all over it? Because, I mean, obviously you see two big teams like this, you're thinking, okay, it's a draw, but can either team really get a win in this one?
Well, you've seen.
Will Vidal get a red?
Well, you've seen this season, Juventus don't look up to scratch like they usually do. Inter were inconsistent or hot and cold. You don't know which Inter's going to turn up.
Yeah.
As well as Dybala as well. Last season, both games, Dybala ended up beasting against us. It was a decider maker for both games. So, and even he's a bit out of form and hot and cold. So you don't know which one you're going to get.
Yeah.
But this one, I see it either being a win either way. I see it being a tight match, not like a big goal margin.
No.
Maybe like a 2-1 or, yeah, that's what I have.
2-1 for. I'll put you on the spot.
2-1 for Inter.
Okay, cool. Yeah, okay. So that would be impressive if Inter wins that match. Obviously, it would put a lot more pressure on the top teams if Juventus win that game. So I guess I would. I don't know who I don't know how to cheer for in this one. Yeah, go ahead.
No, someone just put Dybala was injured. So.
Oh, that's right. He was at the J Medical recently. So yeah, he doesn't look too good right now. But Kulishevsky's been playing a lot more lately. Obviously, we got Morata. McKennie's doing really well now when he's getting inserted to the lineup. So it's still gonna be a tough matchup no matter who they put out there. Obviously, they have Ronaldo still. So that's the big elephant in the room here. So
it'll be interesting to see how Pirlo matches up to Conte. So student versus teacher.
Yeah. I mean, so it's a big test for Pirlo against Milan, for his former club, seeing how he would do there. And then now he goes against another former club and a tactician like Conte. So, yeah, I'm curious to see. We've heard a lot of good things about Pirlo in the back room about what kind of manager he is, how he likes to tinker with things, and very cerebral type manager. Let's see what he does against Conte, because Conte, given time, he can really set up for a team to do really well. But if it's a short turnaround, it tends to be more difficult for Conte's teams. You got 2-1 for Inter. I'm gonna go with. I don't know who I'd rather win. Do I want Inter to lose and then a bigger gap for Milan, but then you have Juventus right there in the spot, or do you have Juventus? I don't know. I'm gonna say draw. 1-1. I'm gonna wimp out and say 1-1. I don't know who I'd want to win that game. Unfortunately, I can't pick one, man. It's too difficult for me. Anyway, so a lot of rumors going on for transfers this past week or something, but nothing really too crazy at the moment. So I think that's all the match weeks for this past weekend, and looking at a couple of games coming up. Well, actually, let's real quick pick a winner for the Derby della Capitale, Roma Lazio. I'm gonna go. You going Lazio?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go Roma. I'm going Roma this. I think I was getting mad at me because I said a draw. I think Roma's gonna win against Lazio, and you got Lazio, so it's interesting. I think there will be a winner in that game. I don't think it'll be a draw. Both those teams can be bad defensively where they let up goals, so I think for sure will be a winner. It should be an entertaining game for sure. So two must-watch games this week, and obviously Lazio, Roma, and then obviously Inter and Juventus. That'll be the top games next week. So, all right. So, I think without further ado, I mean, let's not drag us out any longer. Who won Calcio Twitter? A lot to get into this week. This is your initiation into Who Won Calcio Twitter. So we're gonna go read through these one by one and pop them up on the screen, and then we can pick a winner at the end. And we'll even let the people in the chat decide too as well. So starting out with the first one. This one comes from Bag Full of Toffee. He says, Sampdoria up 2-0 at halftime, doing your mob a favor. He's talking about Milan. He says, it's all down to the secret weapon, or is it just my eyes, Cadrevo, or is it me? All right, I got you. That's cool. Next one coming in from BJ Mac at BJ_MACK19. He says, do you think Conte wears his rug under that winter hat, or does he take it off first? I don't know the question. Do you know, Ricky?
I'm not sure.
This one comes in from Ruido Santos. So ESPN tweeted out, a year ago today, Zlatan returned to Serie at the age of 38. People said he was too old. He's been involved in 30 goals in 24 games since then. And then Rui says, your network said he was too old.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Got them there. So good one, Rui. Moving on. This one comes from at Grego_1899. He says Çalhanoğlu should get another Player of the Month trophy just for hitting Bonucci in the nuts. Nicely done. This one comes in. The next one comes in from Adam Digby. He says Rodrigo Bentancur has completed more passes to Milan players than anyone in the red and black. Bentancur was having a horrible game, but the rest of the team was doing very well. 3-1 victory again for Juventus. This one comes from Abdul Rahman. He says, I didn't know Buffon made cheese, and this is goat cheese. I get it. All right, this one comes in from our buddy Just Juve. And by the way, Juventus are doing a little plug for Juventus. Juventus are doing pitch for the Twitch and trying to find their new pitch man for their Twitch account. And so we're down to the finalists of 2 former guests for us, Giuseppe from Just Juve and Marco from Italian Football TV. So this tweet comes from Just Juve, and he says, the perfect day doesn't exist. Oh, wait, Napoli lost? Sampdoria beat Inter? Milan lost. Oh. All right, I got you, Giuseppe. I see you there. All right, next one comes in from at Kilpin Chronicle. It says, on the bright side, the refurbish of the changing rooms at Milanello was completed today. All the injuries. At least it's Milan Twitter bashing on Milan Twitter, right?
Yeah.
This one comes in from our friend Nick. It says it's from Sansone, actually. Not from Sansone. Serie Twitter, whenever Moise Keane starts over Mauro Icardi and scores the goal.
I saw that.
Very good. This one comes in from one of your buddies, Alex Dono. He says, Vidal makes Gagliardini look like a clinical finisher.
Oh, yeah. The chance he missed.
Oh, man, what a sitter. This one rubbed Milan Twitter the wrong way, but it made our top nominees. From De Rossi's tattoo, AC Milan on the road to break the record of most penalty kicks awarded in one season. What a club. And the reactions were amazing. You got to just read the replies. That was amazing with that. This one comes in from so Frank says Screen got jumped and beaten by Mancini, and then Joseph responds, Mkhitaryan running past screen on the left flank. I'm fast. That's good. Let's see. This one comes from Milan Weekly Podcast. Inter team building activity last week could explain their lack of effort in the last couple of minutes in Roma versus Inter. Oh man. Oh, what are you gonna do? Okay, this one Frank gets nominated here. So Iker Casillas came out and in his statement said that I guess he made a comment about Donnarumma playing for a top club, and then he came back and kind of changed that and was like, I'm in a team that's actually got some cachet right now. And Frank says, except the part that Milan has cachet, as you call it too, should have thought be washing Buffon's gloves. And other people are saying Milan's just got the second most Champions League. What are you talking about? Cachet. Anyway. Michael Lisi tweeted out Chiriches should walk home. What the hell was he thinking? And then at Milanista_Tio says, thinking he's enjoying his new Jeep. Sponsored by Juventus. All right, this one comes from George Vidmer. He says, New Year, same result for Cagliari. Turn away, Ricky.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
This comes from at Sheva. He says, what am I drinking this morning? Interisti tears. Sorry, man. You have to be here on that one here. So Squawka released Kiyoshi Miura, 53-year-old, signs a 36 season. He's still playing for 36 years now. He says, Lisi says, Conte's been trying to sign this guy for at least 20 years.
Yep. All that experience.
Kolarov and Vidal. This one was funny, though. It didn't make sense. Julie 1897 says, Frabotta, when he arrives home tonight, empties his pockets, keys, wallet, phone, and Teo Hernandez. It's funny, but as many people pointed out, it's actually Chiesa who had Teo Hernandez in his back pocket, not Frabotta, wrong side. But it's funny nonetheless. This one also comes in from the same person. Says, my Muriel, your Muriel. This is not actually a nominee, but Salvio Berlusconi Pure_Milanista. He's infamous for his Calcio Twitter comments, his memes. So we haven't seen him on Twitter for the longest time, but I was giving a shout out to him somewhere because imagine how good he would be if he was still tweeting out these days. Someone who's still tweeting out, Azzurri fan Phil says, wow, only 10 followers away from 3,500. Only 25 followers away from 35 the number of days since Inter won a trophy.
Rent free in his head.
The hate for Inter this week is up there. I think we found the winner, though, in this one. Sabrina, thank goodness she did a screenshot of this. Lega Calcio came out with the tweet, says win, losses, and draws, and talks about the calendar. But look at the calendar, or look at the table. Okay, Milan, Inter, right logo. Juve, Roma. Wait, what? What? All these symbols are wrong. The only ones that have right are Milan, Inter, Crotone, and Sampdoria, and I think maybe one other one. I mean, this is completely wrong. Like, what was? I mean, do they not have checks and balances over there at Lega Serie English? I mean, that was bad. That was bad. Oh my goodness. Let's see what other. That's the same one there. We got a couple more here. Here we go. So IFTV puts out the tweet as a comment from the Polish FA president and says, if he scored more, Zelensky could be even better than De Bruyne. So Kipling responds back, hey, if my auntie had balls, she'd be my uncle. That was good. That was good. This one, Martino Puccio put us in touch with, and it's Saturnion, who's been a winner before. Romagnoli next to a good center back, looks like Bonera. Next to a shit center back, looks like Maldini. And it's very true. That's good. And then the last one, Nick let us know about this. So Martino put out a tweet that said, audio is whacked out for this game. Haha, I'm getting Italiana and English commentary simultaneously. Gianni responds, sounds like arguments from my family at every holiday dinner. A lot of good ones there. A lot of good ones. What's up, Lisi? A lot of good ones. What's your favorite there? If you're in the chat, let us know which is your favorite Who Won Calcio Twitter. You're the guest.
Morial, you're Morial.
Okay, yeah. That's a good one right there. My Muriel, your Muriel. I like that. I like that. For me, it's tough. I have to. It's. Thank you to Sonia. Excuse me, Sabrina. Thank goodness she screenshotted this because we wouldn't have seen this otherwise because they deleted it immediately. But it's unfortunately Lega Serie with the egg on their face, getting everybody's logo completely wrong except for 5 teams. That is not a passing score in any grade school, any school anywhere. So I think I'm going to give it to Sabrina. If you're in the chat, let us know who you want to choose. You got my Muriel, your Muriel. Adriano says, of course, he's going to choose the Calcio guys, but also Sabrina. Very good. I like that. So that's going to be my winner, and I think we co-winners tonight. So before we wrap this up, goals of the week. Did you have any top goals that you want to talk about that you saw that raised your eyebrows, I guess?
Hakimi laser.
Hakimi was a laser. That it was definitely in my top 5. So my top 5, I'll give you my top 5. Marco Sau, his diving goal, that came at number 5 for me. Luis Muriel coming on as a sub, getting a goal. That was a nice goal for him. Number 3 for me was actually Toloi's goal, and it's not his goal. It was the assist by Ilicic going past 4 guys, getting the assist there. Speaking of 4 guys, Ilicic comes in at number 2. Him going past another 4 guys to come at number 2. And number 1, I actually got a 3-way tie. Your boy Hakimi with his rocket of a shot, Danilo with his laser of a shot, and then Candreva with a flying volley in the game that Sampdoria lost against Spezia. So those are the top 3 goals. DiMarco, honorable mention for sure. Adriano, that goal was very nice outside of the foot curler. Him and Zaccagni hooking up on that goal there. So a lot of good goals this weekend. But I think it doesn't matter where you pick. There's some really nice ones out there. Hakimi for sure. What a brilliant strike there on the left footed there. So yeah, that's going to put a bow on this one, on this edition of Serie A Sit Down. It's a nice short episode here. No Frank. Frank, if you're listening in, make sure you feel better and get better soon. Ricky, let the listeners know where they can follow you and your chance to plug in your YouTube page or whatever you want.
You can follow me on Twitter at buzz_QS, and my YouTube channel is Ricky Buzz.
And how often are you putting out these videos for Inter?
At least once a week.
All right, awesome. So definitely give that a shout out. I give it a follow. We'll put the link in the description after the video, and we'll make sure we tweet that out as well. Definitely give that a follow for sure. As always, you can follow me at R_KHARMAN. You can follow Frank at FTC_21. If you haven't done so yet and you're listening, make sure you follow, subscribe, and like the YouTube page. Give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all the social medias there. And as always, you can listen to our podcast anywhere that streams music. So thank you again, ragazzi, for joining us on this nice shortened version of the episode tonight. Lots of good goals, lots of good games this weekend. Two big games coming up on the horizon, the Derby della Capitale and Inter Juventus. So watch those games. We're going to have some exciting commentary in the next week. But until the next episode, ragazzi, stay tuned and make sure you tell your paisans about us. Ciao.